We're on YouTube. Wow, what a day today. Man, there's been stuff popping all over the stuff. As we do that on Jesse fires her up and gets her going on, and gets us up on Facebook Live. All the stuff that's been going on today. Oh, wow. Man, we had bombshells dropping across the Newswire. Trump's been tweeting. Geraldo Rivera's been tweeting. All across the board. And then the news, we're talking mutinies. Are we going to open up? Are we going to close? Are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? Seems like nobody has. The conflicting reports are absolutely amazing. Am I hearing? Is the music on? Oh, let me turn. Oh, now I can hear it. I was hearing dead silence in my deal. See, I'm so deaf, I can't tell half the time. I can't tell if the things are working on that. Man, what a day today is going across the board. News, conflicting reports, news reports. This says this does that. A lot of things we suspected are going on. Maybe there's a big bombshell sitting in the Washington Post we'll be dealing with. We're trying to dial up Eddie George of Hemet Eye News right now. Cliff Cummings will be on after the bottom of the hour of Toyota San Bernardino. We'll get you all the news that's happening today, and it is amazing what is going on. Each and every day, you think the tide is turning. In every hour you think the tide is turning, on all this stuff. But we had today, Trump started out early in the morning with a curious tweet about the governors and mutiny and stuff, and going, what the heck is this? And it was kind of cryptic sometimes, as Trump is, of what's going on, so you got to try and figure this stuff out, or what is he meaning of that. I mean, he likes to throw bombs and keeps people off of base a little bit. And so I was kind of curious to what he was referring to, and as we usually do on Newswire, we play the press conferences from all the... From New York Governor Cuomo. He's usually around in the morning, and then Gavin Newsom's usually about 12, and then Trump comes on about 3 o'clock. He's scheduled for 2, but he usually comes on about 3 o'clock. So Trump started with this little tweet in the morning. Cuomo's been calling daily, even hourly, begging for everything, most of what should have been the state's responsibility, such as hospital beds, and I got it all done for him. Everywhere else, and now he wants independence. That won't happen. There's been this whole deal about, can Trump step in? Does he have the authority? Cuomo addressed that a little bit today. He said, no, I don't think so. And some of the governors but that's the thing that's going to be on the deal. So this is the next one. Tell the Democrat governors that Mutiny on the Bounty was one of my all-time favorite movies. A good old-fashioned mutiny every now and then is exciting and intriguing thing to watch, especially when the mutineers need so much from the captain. Too easy. So what the heck was he talking about? So watching the Cuomo press conference, he kind of mentioned it of that, and kind of bounded it back and forth, but it was not much of a play. But he did talk about, him and the governors back east were meeting around his area, New Jersey, Connecticut, So then Newsom comes on at noon. Here's the bombshell. Now it starts making sense. And Newsom said yesterday, we're going to get with Oregon, Washington, California. We're meeting, he said yesterday, tomorrow, which was today, and we're going to talk about opening things up and all that sort of good stuff. And Eddie says he's trying to call us. So are you working on that? Oh, okay. So yeah, if you're out there, Eddie, I don't know. We've got the Skype fired up. Do I have the Skype up? Because I usually exit out. Okay, just so you're on that. Yeah. But it should be on there. But so Newsom gets on there and says, "Well, this was the essence. Come back in 2 weeks and ask me if I will let you out of the house." I mean, I almost exploded out of my chair. So, I mean, I couldn't believe this. Are we getting treated like 3-year-olds on that on this thing? Because you mean come back in 2 weeks and maybe I will let you out of the house? The next thing he's blabbering on about, well, if you go into a restaurant, you might have to have your temperature taken and all that. What in... You got to wear gloves. Then the next thing, a reporter asks him a question, well, what about sporting events? Well, I don't think we're going to have any mass gatherings this year at all. Chances are going to be very nil. I went, really? Where are you coming up with this, of the draconian measures? And there's only 700 dying. I mean, this is ridiculous. The nanny state is here. Are we going to sit here and take this? The mask? We had the deal on Fauci's thing. Fauci, a couple of weeks in February, said masks are ineffective. No, the masks are the biggest savior. You got to put this covering on. We're trampling this. You can't go to church, but you can go to your weed shop. In that. So, what in the heck? I mean, it's insane. Are we going to sit here and take this with all this misinformation? They're missing their targets every time, even with all this stuff. They got it on there. We showed the charts before. Even with all the social distancing and the masks and everything else, they said, well, it's going up here, and it winds up being down here. Nowhere have they ever hit a target even close. Before social distancing, after anything else. People are getting restless. The traffic's coming back. LA's starting to fill up. They're starting to, the people went for this for a little bit, but I think it's time. If they don't open this stuff up on May 1st, we start marching on May 2nd, and we start ratcheting this thing up. Trump indicated May 1st it's coming. 29 states are looking real good. It may be up above that. But do we have Eddie on?
He's in a shoe.
Oh. He's in what?
A shoe. Read your message.
He's in a shoe.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in a shoe. Oh, he's okay. He's covering something on that. So, all this stuff keeps piling up. So I'm saying if they're not having us opened up on May 1st, May 2nd, it's Katie bar the door. Because how long are we going to take this? I was listening to the LA guy. I'll look at, this is my chart, my whiteboard of writing things down. It's so big. Dr. Roger Lewis, he's doing the study for LA that they're talking about closing things down till August 1st. Ridiculous. Saying 3 million could be infected, 30,000 dying, all this other stuff, and this why and how to who to ha to ha to ye to. The prediction is only 60,000 in the whole United States now. What, 1,500 in all of California, and this guy's saying, well, if we don't do this and that, and maybe we're going to have to hold all this stuff on and back and forth. I mean, there's so much conflicting stuff. Trump's coming up saying, America, we're opening things up. Newsom and Cuomo are saying, no, we're not. So now I understand why the mutiny and stuff, and they're asking him for stuff and what was going on. Trump's saying, we're getting this stuff back together. He's saying, do you get on board? Not, or what on that? I think he's saying, if you don't start opening this thing up and getting things back together in our country running, which was the gist of his press conference today, that's when I might step in. And yeah, if you do have trouble, you will that too. But we'll see. I think Pop's on the line. So
I want to ask you a question. How do you smoke your marijuana through your mask?
Well, yeah, you might have one of those Richard Pryor fire moments if you're trying to.
I just wonder do you have to take your mask off, take a puff, and then put it back on? I'd like to see how we trickily do this. Same way drinking our beer and wine and everything else. How do we filter that through the mask? I kind of wanted to know that.
Can you imagine going to a restaurant? And so you're going into Carl's Jr. like you do every 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So they got to take your temperature. You got to wear gloves. I mean, yeah, come back in 2 weeks and we'll tell you if we're going to let you out of the house.
Yeah.
Is that, are we going to stand for this?
I know. That's what I said. I watch them vaping over there at the gas station, walking in and out of there. Nobody wearing no mask. They're all getting their whatever they're getting now. That because it's a gas station liquor store. And how do you? That's what I want to know. How do you get to do that? But people that want to go to church, they can't go to church. That's pretty good. I mean, we could take the First Amendment and trash that, but don't forget we got to have our high water alcohol and get high and dry on their marijuana.
I mean, are you reading it as me? I think the press conference here asking, well, if there's states that are not doing or in trouble and say you would step in. I got what Trump's tweets, the way Gavin and Cuomo were doing the press conference. I'm getting Trump's deal. Hey, if you don't start opening this up, you don't start getting the economy going, that's when we're going to step in. Yeah, we're going to step in anyway if you're in trouble. They've shown that. They've stepped in everywhere that, like they said, that guess how many, we got 1,000 hospital beds in the Navy ship. God knows how much that costs.
Yeah.
How many people you think are in the Navy ship in L.A. where they're predicting 30,000 deaths by August 1st over coronavirus?
That's a hard question to answer.
10.
Yeah.
They didn't need a hospital, basically, the ones they built, all these ones they built for New York. In Seattle, they built one in whatever arena about at the first week. 3 days later, they're taking it down because it was not needed.
That's right. And they show all these other hospitals that don't have virus patients. They're not doing selective, so they're shutting down the hospitals. Now, that's real good sense.
And they're talking about this Roger Lewis, who's doing the study, scaring everybody to death down in L.A. And Garcetti's saying we're going to lock it down maybe till August 1st, yada, 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 saying, well, we got 3 million people may have it by my modeling and whatever, and 30,000 deaths on the death rate of 1% and yada, yada, yada. But we got to get the herd mentality or vaccine. Well, vaccine ain't coming for 6 to 9 months, they said.
Right.
Herd mentality is if you get to 3 million. And then, how do we know? Stanford's studying at this. We ain't going to have a healthcare system or hospitals or anything else running if they keep shutting this thing down. Because eventually, if nothing's going, we all run out of money. And then, again, what do they think the death rate's going to be if this economy crashes and even more most of the hospitals are closed and there's no, we may have 50,000 ventilators, but if there's nobody around to run them, what good are they?
Right. Same way with Pennsylvania, and I know a couple other states, they won't let them sell cars, so everybody that's buying cars or doing anything with their cars are going to states that are letting them run the car lots and what have you. That was on the news today. There's two of them car dealers, and I know one from Pennsylvania, and he was just hot. He says, we haven't been able to use our selling cars or nothing since this has been going on. They the governor shut it down. So, everybody's a dictator to their own states, you know, and nobody wants to work together. We got this I hate mentality. I don't care who it is.
Did you watch the Trump press conference today?
Yeah, I watched it.
What I found intriguing, no Fauci, no Birx, no nothing, only him. He only answered questions, and he spent the first part, we're out of the WHO, World Health Organization.
Yep.
We're cutting funding of that. They were sitting there lying to us. They were siding with China.
Yeah.
They told us there was nothing to worry about, so he said, okay, finally. You know, we heard over, you know, cut the funding to the United Nations and this and that, and stop funding all the military over to finally. One time, at least in my lifetime, one president said, okay, we're cutting the funding off to one of these idiot organizations that's screwing us over.
Yep.
Second part of that I got of that is what I was saying. That then he went, all the companies from FedEx to the unions, I went through all the list of the unions and all the companies, Amazon, even Facebook, technology companies, everybody that's all on board with this. We got to go, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
Then he said, you know, then he talked about we've got to start opening this thing up. He said, by May 1st, if not, but it's looking like we're going to do it sooner. He said 29 states are looking like they're ready to go. There's no problem or perceivable, very low risk, let's say no problem, very low risk. We're going to start opening this stuff up.
Yep.
I think where he's having the problem is on the two coasts. The Gavin Newsom, the Washington-Oregon deal, and the whatever the ones around that Cuomo's with, you know, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island,
Pennsylvania, too, in Pennsylvania, because, you know, up on the Philadelphia area, you know, that's all in that same cluster. But I think Trump's going to work with Texas and a few other states, let them over and start taking all the business from the other states, and you'll see how fast they want to open up their doors. And that's the only way you're going to get it done is work with 2 or 3 big states like that, and Texas being one of them. Oh, let's turn Texas loose and all the Midwest. And if the Midwest farmers don't plant by the end of the month, we've lost the whole planting season.
Yes, and I mean, what you know, we're in danger of doing much more harm across the board on this whole deal than what we're accomplishing with that by just way overreacting to this coronavirus China pandemic thingy that it is. It's been all over the radio today. You know, like L.A. They said, "Man, the traffic's coming back." You know,
today I couldn't believe how many people are getting on the freeway at Paris Boulevard. First time I've seen them all backing up at the stoplights now. Just like you know, like it's not normal, but it's going that way. It's about a third now. Like I say, last week nobody was at them traffic lights. Now 6-8 cars are always sitting there, and they're all racing to get on the freeway. And the traffic going down the freeway on the 60 freeway at 5:00 in the morning. With the trucks and cars is about a third now of what it used to be, and I bet you by next Saturday it'll be 3 times that much.
Yeah, I think people were willing to go along with this right at the beginning. Okay, yeah, it looks like that. Well, yeah, again, I think it's the boy that cried wolf syndrome. Well, yeah, you made all these big splashing deals. We got to do this. We got to have 10 million beds. We got to have 80,000 ventilators. No, we didn't need. The hospitals ain't full.
Right.
We don't need. We got ventilators sitting stacked up like cordwood.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. What are we going to do with them? You know, they'll wind up selling them off for 10 cents on the dollar.
Yes.
But anyway, I like to say McDonald's cars are going in there getting their breakfasts at 5:00. Carl's, Del Taco, you know, they're all on that one corner. And I mean, they were busy. This is the first time I've seen cars waiting to get their food for the morning. So that means they're already buying food, going to their jobs, eating their lunch like they've been doing normally. So it's coming back. The people are fed up with it just in this town. You can imagine what it's like in L.A. and Orange County and everywhere else. I'm sure they're getting a little upset.
So this is the latest thing that broke about a couple hours ago from Geraldo Rivera. He tweeted out, the WAPO, which is the Washington Post, has a legit bombshell indicating the coronavirus was created buy and escape from a Chinese lab experimenting on bats.
Yeah, that was on one of the other channels on the television about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, we said, which means the whole wet market story was just BS cover-up
Yep.
for a bioexperiment F-up of epic proportions is what Geraldo tweeted. So one thing I'm going to say is, or I'm wondering, when is the Washington Post going to print this story if they're sitting on it? And many have been, we've said, well, I'm going to put on the tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
Because they've said, the whole, this was caused by some Chinese guy at the wet market who ate a bat and started all this stuff in Wuhan, China. Joshua Phillips did the documentary and stuff and said there isn't a bat within 3 miles of where they said it was, but there's a whole bunch of Chinese experimental labs going on working on stuff just like this.
Yeah. The bat that they're claiming that they got it from is the closest bats of that kind are almost 800 miles away from that city that was there. That special kind of, what they call it, kind of bat, I don't remember. It's an ugly-looking thing they were showing on television today. And he said, this is where the virus came from.
Yes, and it did not make any sense that this whole enchilada started off somebody eating a bat.
Well, every one of the ones that China's made with this what they call it, this virus, that little round virus, started with all them different ones, like SARS was the first one, that same corneous type deal. Then the next one was H1N1, the same thing. MERS, they all come from that same round virus that we got. They just perfected it better now.
And they've said, and a lot of time, that we've had the warnings of that. They said, bioweapons could make conventional weapons, like we said, obsolete.
Yep.
In this thing. So this and what they've said is this is the first virus they've ever seen that can sit in your body for 14 days without you having any symptoms on it.
Right.
So how did this one just mutate that much on its own, created out or supposedly from a bat? This and figured that the virus developed that quickly. They don't move. They do, usually, or my understanding is they don't move that quickly. So this whole thing, and that's what Trump is saying. I think Trump is sending the signal again. That's why he's pulling out of the WHO. He's called it China virus, and everybody's called him racist and all this other stuff for that and all that. WHO was having a heart attack because he put the China travel ban in and said, oh, no, and even with Fauci and all that was doing that. And again, like Fauci, we have the article where he's sitting in the USA Today editorial board in February, late February, saying these masks don't do anything. They're largely ineffective. Now, masks are going to save us all. Oh, if you don't go outside with a mask, you could kill someone. You could kill your mother if you don't wear a mask.
I know. It's just ridiculous. Now you can wear a handkerchief over your mouth. That's a good enough mask now.
Yeah.
I want to go to the store in the morning because I shop for Carol in the morning, and I see all them people in there doing just like me. You get to the door and you put your handkerchief on, walk in and get your stuff, and then go back out, take your handkerchief off. It's stupid, but hey, if that's what they want, that's what they got to do. They are controlling you. Like Khrushchev said, we will take over the country without firing a shot.
And they're. It's sad to say, but it looks like they're accomplishing that.
It did very fastly, too. Very
yes.
fast. I mean, that's the fastest it's ever been.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I've said. I've said, if this is really the tact we're going on, I'm thinking the ones that are pulling this off are probably thinking, boy, if we knew it was this easy, we'd have done this a long time ago.
Yep. That's for sure.
I mean, I can't believe that. And hopefully, and which I'm hopefully I'm a little optimistic and stuff that people are getting back. They're thinking, well, everybody kind of did this all. Now they're thinking, well, no, this isn't. Which is even, to me, it's like the boy that cried wolf. It's potentially more dangerous. Because if something now happens in the future, now nobody's going to believe them.
Right. I mean, this is something else. So, like I say, I hope Texas opens up next week like they said they would, and they start taking the business from all the rest of the states. And then you're going to see all the other states, business people start screaming. So, we'll see. Well, I know you're getting close to your time to run.
Yeah, we're just about ready to get on the
So
on the
I'll
half hour deal,
I'll
but
let you get fired up.
yes, on that. But no, every day, like I say, it sounded like an optimistic tone on Monday, on that. Then now that half of the stuff is coming. I mean, Cuomo and especially Newsom. I mean, I was just apoplectic when Newsom came on that, saying, "Oh, you can't have this, and you can't." Ask me in 2 weeks if you can come outside, or I'll have a better indication and tell you when I'm going to let you outside.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, again, how much, if you sit there, like I said, if you sit there and take this, I mean, you're going to get steamrollered over. I mean, because they're just going to keep chipping away at you, and that's what I've said. I've said, look at where this stuff is spread in the hellhole of New York City, where the Fauci, Cuomo, everybody said, this place was ripe for this to go. Everybody stacked on top of each other. We're 5 million people or 10 million people in 5 square miles on a little itty bitty island part of that, riding subways and high density this, and you got to push somebody off the sidewalk to walk down it. If that's what you want to live in, and that's what they're trying to bring to California and everywhere else, you let them do this, and you're going to rue the day because you're going to be living like that crap hole over there. And when the next pandemic or the next virus comes, then it will be deadly because it's going to spread just like it did there.
Yep, and there'll be no place to go. Okay, well,
you got it.
See you. Bye.
I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible the amount of that. I am very hopeful, though. I do see signs of the cracks in this, and there's still people doing this. But what just sends me, what makes me something that I just cannot hardly fathom, is what I see. To put it on there, I see these comments. I put these ladies in there that say, "Oh, we love Gavin Newsom. He's so handsome. Oh, isn't he cute? Oh, he's a great governor. I wish he was president." I cannot. So this is what we're down to. You don't care if he's hosing you, taking away your liberties, telling you, dictating every aspect of your life, just because he looks good. And you think he's a hottie. Oh, he would make a great governor to this. Some of you, I just can't believe it. I just cannot believe the incredible amount of, I don't even know what to call it. Because if you don't stand up to this stuff, like I said, you're going to get steamrollered time and time again. And it's just, like I say, that's why we're putting these press conferences up every day on that. Because, man, if you don't pay attention to that, I'm saying if you don't work it, if you don't look at it, and I'm saying if anywhere that isn't opened up by May 1st, we need to be marching everywhere. Every city council, board of supervisors, state office, we need to be on them each and every day, because this stuff, the amount of misinformation and stuff that we have been fed on this thing all across the board has been on ridiculous proportions. And the big question is why. Yeah, Michael writes in, what date are you looking at? Well, they did ask him that, and that's why I say he tap dances around the whole thing. Well, going on the data and stuff, like he said, he was going to tell us today, laying out a plan for us to open up. Well, come back in 2 weeks, and I might tell you when I'm going to let you out of the house. It's, like I said, it's ridiculous. There's no rhyme or reason or anything behind what's going on this whole deal. And I find it very, 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 very disheartening that we spend so much time on this stuff, that we have to spend so much time on this, trying to dig us out of this hole, trying to decipher through the misinformation that's going on. because each and every day we do it and more. Each and every day we sit down here in this unnecessary, in my view, lockdown of that. We're doing damage to the economy. We're not letting that herd mentality. We're not getting rid of this virus. And we potentially, possibly, when it hits on the rebound, it could be that much worse when it's coming on the flip side. And that's one thing that makes me really, really, really nervous on that. Because if this thing sits here, if it mutates and comes back stronger, wow. Are you prepared for that? Nobody's prepared for that. Then we might need all those ventilators and all that stuff that's going on. So it's very important not to buy into this rhetoric of that you demand answers from them, not do that, question everything. Like I said, what is the big difference when masks in January and February were not effective at doing
30 seconds.
To you cannot go out of your house without a mask without facing $1,000 fine or 90 days in jail. On top of that, there you go. What is that?
All right, guys, here we go.
AM.com and download your free phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The preceding was a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed.
Been an exciting and fun day, rocking and rolling on that day. On that is on a Takeout Taco Tuesday, which is about the only thing you can do if you can even find a taco shop that's open that you can get some takeout on of that. Man, we got news breaking and stuff all over the place on that as we come in on the Mighty Met 1490 KMET as we do every day, every Monday through Friday, I should say, from 5:30 to 6 on that. We get into the Trump press conference and that, but I want to hit this because this was just breaking. This is just breaking news that happened about 3 or 4 hours ago. Geraldo Rivera put this out on his Twitter machine. The WAPO, meaning the Washington Post, has a legit bombshell indicating the coronavirus was created by and escaped from a Chinese lab experimenting on bats, which means the whole wet market story was just BS cover for a bioexperiment F-up of epic proportions. I don't know. How many of you have bought into the guy at the wet market in Wuhan, China, bit into a bat and spread all this stuff? That made no absolute sense. What's going to be even more interesting is when is the Washington Post going to print this story if they are laying on it as Geraldo Rivera has tweeted out on the to the world. We've been just getting bogus BS information all across the board. Trump pulled the dollars out of the World Health Organization, saying World Health Organization is vastly responsible for the misinformation, not telling us what was going on, putting American lives at danger and lives all across the world at danger, trying to cover this stuff up, making up stories like a guy eats a bat at a wet market, and that's how this all got started. You had Joshua Phillips on with the documentary on the Epoch Times. He went to Wuhan, China, and looked at this, and there wasn't a bat within 3 miles of that. But what did he find? Experimental labs working on maybe some of this kind of stuff. We were promised today from Gavin Newsom or Andrew Cuomo, oh yeah, we're meeting with our governors around, we're going to light all this stuff up. Trump put out the tweet, man, there's a mutiny going on here. He said, tell the Democrat governors, notice Democrat, of which Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo, and the governors of Oregon, Washington, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and all around that area, which were meeting on the both coasts on this to supposedly come up with their plan today to open things up. Tell the Democrat governors that The Mutiny on the Bounty was one of my all-time favorite movies. A good old-fashioned mutiny every now and then is exciting and invigorating. Thing to watch, especially when the mutineers need so much from the captain too easy. So Andrew Cuomo was on there again, and he was kind of dancing around it, the whole thing. But, and this is a big but, he never did come up with a plan, just, kind of double talking it. And yeah, well, we're going to have to look at the data and we're going to go safely and all this other stuff. Gavin Newsom dropped the bombshell. That was about 9 o'clock our time in the morning when Cuomo from New York comes on. Noon is when Gavin Newsom does his. He said, oh, this is the information. Dial me back up in 2 weeks and I will tell you, maybe I will tell you, when I will let you out of your house. Really? When Trump is at his press conference saying, looks like May 1st, looks like many states are good, looks like 29 states are in good shape, might even be quicker than May 1st. We're going to have many states opened up. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, was talking yesterday about, hey, maybe next week we're going to start opening up Texas and pulling a lot of these restrictions off, unnecessary restrictions. Because as we did, Dr. Roger Lewis, who's coming up with this, who's heading the LA City study, is saying 3 million infected, maybe possibly infected our models in LA. 30,000 deaths, and that's factoring in if we got in blah, 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 blah. When like the one up at the model up in Washington that was severely downgraded from 6,000 to 1,800 in the whole state of California, mind you. Gavin Newsom saying, if you go to a restaurant, maybe you'll have to have your temperature taken. We're going to take more tables out. Maybe there'll be less tables in there. You have to wear gloves, and we had the whole deal about gloves and all that, and that ain't necessarily a good idea. Wear masks. You might have to wear a mask everywhere for the unforeseeable future. And then this reporter asked him a question: when are we going to get back to the sports, NFL, baseball, racing, all this other? Go to the beach. Well, not for the foreseeable future, he said. I don't anticipate it this year. I mean, they're talking about locking down the state for that. Trump's saying, I'm meeting with sports teams. We're working out a plan to get this stuff going up and down the board. And these two ding-dongs on the East Coast and West Coast are making plans to keep us under this totalitarian rule of that, where you can't even go to church, but you can go down to your weed store and get all the weed you want. I want to see in the First Amendment or in the Constitution anywhere where it's talking about your right to smoke a joint, but I think they mentioned something about freedom of religion. So all this stuff that's going on is just, it makes your head spin. On one end, we're hearing one thing, one here, we're the other. Even with all these adjusted statistics, they're not even hitting the projections anywhere close to what they're predicting. But they're still giving us, in a few pockets, especially in our area on the coast, both coasts are giving us this doom and gloom. Maybe I'm hoping he can make some sense out of this, as he usually does. We have the owner and proprietor of Toyota San Bernardino, as you see the sign behind me, Subaru San Bernardino and I-10 Toyota out in Indio. Cliff Cummings, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here again. How are you?
I'm doing great. Every day's a great day in the top side of the grass. Some of this stuff makes my head spin. I started to hear, I think, a little bit of optimistic good news, and then I hear a flood of stuff like Gavin Newsom saying, check back with me in 2 weeks, and I'll tell you maybe when I might let you out of your house.
Well, when did he say that? Because he came out Friday or Saturday or Sunday. They're all
That
the
was
same
in the
day now.
news conference today at noon when he.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate. What I think Newsom is doing is he's waiting to see what New York does. All right, because his wild dream right now is to become Cuomo's running mate if they draft Cuomo at the convention, because I don't think that Joe is going to be the candidate. I think that they're going to dump him. I think Biden has completely lost his senses, and the Democrats know that, and they certainly can't have Bernie. So we talked about this a few days ago, but if they figure out how to get Cuomo past the finish line, then he might go after Newsom because he's cute and he's from California. So in the meantime, he'll wait to see what's going on. But the other side of that is the more that these guys go radical, and they are, the more resentment is being built up on a national level against them, and more favorably, I think, for Trump. Now, has Trump made mistakes? Yeah, I think so. I think he needs to get rid of his favorite doctor, who has been wrong on virtually everything I've seen him say. And if you're going to get up on TV and you're going to talk for however long and you're talking about a guess, then you're not my guy. So I think that there's going to be an upswell against Fauci. The death count, which by their own admission is inflated, absolutely inflated. So now we've got an inflated death count. We have people who don't know what's going on, stalling an economy that needs to go back to work in the next week or two, or there is going to be tremendous long-term, even more tremendous long-term repercussions. I speaking with multiple businessmen every day, and what they're finding out. Now, let me give you the really weird side to this. The guys are saying, you know what? We're kind of doing okay, but what I learned most is I don't need all these people that used to work for me.
That's kind of a good thing, but it could be a bad thing too.
It's a terrible thing.
Yes.
It absolutely
good for the
thing.
business owner, not so good for the guy that you're getting the axe on.
Absolutely. And so that guy is going to be out looking for a shrinking universe of employment. Now, that's exactly what you don't want to have happen. And the president's saying that'll come right back, the economy will come right back. You know, it might come back in San Bernardino or Riverside or outlying areas, but it is not going to come right back in New York. It's not going to come right back in L.A. It's not going to come right back in Chicago. There is a whole world of hurt out there. Now, they may also be waiting to see what the governor of Texas says, because he's going to have a plan this week that is, in my opinion, going to be much more realistic than anything that Newsom or Cuomo can possibly come up with, because they just don't think that way. We've had a lot of people on the automobile side talking to the governor's office. There are some meetings coming up. There was a bit of help today from Garcetti in Los Angeles about allowing internet sales when the world thought it was shut down, and Garcetti's backpedaling on that. Shame on him for not having it right the first time. So you were seeing this. I think it's almost like a seesaw, right? So or a tug of war. You're seeing one side, the Trump side, get a little closer to opening and getting revenue streams going and all that kind of thing. And then the other guys start pulling back because they want to screw the economy up even more. And they may think it's for their personal gain, for themselves or their party. But at the end, it seems to me that the displaced workers are going to go, hey, wait a minute. I could have gone to work because what we've been hearing and fed on CNN and MSNBC, all those and the Democrat governors is, this is a load of crap. I could have been working. You know, people are going to get sick. That's right. But we've even got a false count on the death count. And they have no idea what the sick count was because they didn't count anybody who was maybe had something in December, November, wherever. So we're dealing in this universe of absolutely abysmal knowledge, abysmal ability to predict because it's different everywhere. We do know that New York, in the utter lunacy of that mayor, cut the number of subway cars down and train runs. And people are packed closer together. Why the hell do you think you got so many people sick there?
It is, and that's why I say some more little golden nuggets that came out of the press conference today. And it even goes to, I think it will back up your theory on this. Restaurants. Oh, we're going to have, maybe when we come back, we're going to have more tables out. You will have to have your temperature taken before you go into a restaurant. You have to wear gloves. And this is the biggest bombshell that where Trump at his press conference just a couple hours ago said he's meeting with all the commissioners of sports. Let's get it going. So a reporter asked him about that. Well, what about NFL or getting back to that? And he said, I said the chances nil or something like this. Anywhere the rest of the year we're going to have any large gatherings. And like I say, my head almost exploded.
Yeah, and again, I think you've got Trump who's trying to instill at least some level of sense and moving forward. I don't like the word hope, by the way. I've got an expression about hope, which I cannot use on the air. But I like the fact that he's trying to look forward to a fix where it seems like the other side of the aisle keeps looking forward to a way to screw up a fix. And it's beyond me how these guys got elected. I did it the other day online. I said, how the hell do these people vote for these guys? And it's unbelievable what is out there that is an elected official now. So we got to get past it. We've got an election in November. Everybody's going to remember this. They're going to remember the phony Russia charges. They're going to remember the phony impeachment. And I sincerely, and there are people who still believe all that crap, by the way. And that's fine. And they can go vote and they can lose. And I hope they do. But Trump's going to have to probably make some very dramatic moves that may or may not be good for him, but will be good for the country. And I think getting rid of Fauci is one of them at this point.
Oh, I agree.
He's just been wrong too much.
Yes, we put up the article yesterday of that. He was at the USA Today editorial board in February 21st. He said masks, unless they're the N95, medical grade masks, they're largely ineffective on this. Today if you don't have a mask on, you might kill your mother or something.
Yeah, he's had all these contradictions, and again, I think one thing that Trump can do to help himself, the president needs to shut up. He needs to get on a press conference, do 20 minutes, and turn it over to Pence, turn it over to somebody who makes sense, Fauci's replacement, hopefully. Turn it over. He's wearing himself out, and we've got a whole lot of other problems in this country. The Democrats, during this impeachment deal, did nothing for the country. And they kept trying to press this on the president. They knew they were going to lose. It was a press play. They had no chance of winning. They had Romney. That was their guy in their hip pocket. That's about it. And so they're going to lose. But in the meantime, the business of the country and all these things were developing. They could have been working on this in the House. All right. So, and they didn't put a bill forward that could have gotten to the Senate. So all this finger pointing, it is politics. It's all crap, but it's politics, and that's what they're going to try to do later. But Schumer and Pelosi, they've just got to go. Pelosi, I think, is going to go. I honestly think she's going to retire after this one. This is her last absolute failure, and it's going to catch up with her. But on Trump's side, I think he needs to limit the speeches. He's doing great, taking a lot of questions. Some of them are from level 9 reporters, and he shuts them up pretty well. But I think he needs to limit more what he's doing time-wise and start focusing on how we're going to get out of this, even if it's by executive order and the governors are going to fight him. The Democrat governors will want to fight him. But I think right now people are looking to see what Abbott's going to do in Texas.
I agree with all those points, and I think Trump did take that advice. This was the world's shortest press conference. It was only about an hour today. It was only Trump, no Fauci, no Pence, no Birx, no anybody else. He explained most of it. Most of it was explaining all the economic stuff. All the people who are on board were trying to get everything opened up. About 15 minutes of questions. That was it. He was done. and off the stage. And again, I think I think you're right. I think Governor Abbott in Texas is going to lead this deal. I think he's going to break the deal, and I think it's always hardest to get that first one to make the crack. Once the dam is cracked, then I think the floodgates will open.
Well, I think you're right, and I think it's the Me Too thing, right? Where, oh yeah, I agree with him. Me Too. We're going to do that. And unfortunately for California, Newsom's going to look at what goes on in New York with Cuomo, or he's going to. It's a disaster for this guy what he's done. So now, while he's fiddling while Rome burns, Governor Nero is in a situation where he may not be able to work his way out of this box. Whatever happened to all those impeachment petitions? Where have they gone? Anybody here?
Yeah.
Because they were out there, and there was, my understanding was there was 1 million signatures. Have you heard anything about that at all?
Yeah, that's like a far distant memory that has been gone, buried, dead, never coming back to resurrect on the whole enchilada. On that.
Well, what this does is it fuels the impeachment talk, which I don't think would happen. It fuels the state of Jefferson guys who want to separate up there. There are 4 separate movements to break up California. Now, it will fuel those with the 4 guys who are running those movements need to get together and have one big movement and see if they can get anything done, because you're letting San Francisco and L.A. screw up the whole state. And that is unfortunate. So San Diego's trying to catch up right now, I think, as far as messing it up. But people need to go to work. And
yes,
I know that our service departments are extremely busy. In fact, our service department was better this March than last March at Toyota San Bernardino. We're spacing out work. We've got people doing all the right things. We're actually sending out, by the way, Roy, we're sending out flatbeds to pick up vehicles for people who have some major repairs, recalls, whatever, who don't want to come out. And there's a big number of those. So my office looks right at the service drive, and I'm in there. In that particular office, I'm usually in there 4 or 5 hours a day, and I'm looking at vehicles being brought in and us getting those fixed for those folks and delivering it back to them. So that's an option that's available under certain circumstances, and Toyota is paying for it. Okay, so the airbag, the Takata airbag deal, which impacted virtually every car made, Toyota's paying for it. So we'll come get it, and we'll fix it, and we'll bring it back. Now, let me tell you a good one. We had a customer the other day who was too afraid to walk out of the house to put the keys in the mailbox so he could pick up the car to fix the airbag, to bring the airbag back, to put the keys back in the mailbox. Now, don't you think that's a little too far? The media has driven this person to the edge.
That's exactly what I am worried about. Is they've cried wolf so hard on this one. Pray tell, something really bad is coming in on that. What are people's reaction going to be then? Because they're going to be going, well, you BS'd us all through this one. We don't believe you. And then we could really be in a pickle if it really was something that we should have been, that should have caused an alert like this.
Absolutely agree. And we go through this post-analysis on all these different elements, whether it's business, marriages, decisions that the politicians make, policies. And you look and say, okay, they did nothing. And look, everybody's heard this. Did nothing for the flu. You had this many thousands die. And now they're inflating the death count so far on COVID. Someday we'll get a real count, maybe. But it's just unacceptable the way this is being handled. And I said it on the show the other day, or one of the shows, that I just don't think the president is getting all the information he needs. I think he's finally said, you know what, the hell with this. We're going back to work. And he's looking for allies. And looks like Texas will be his ally, likely Florida. You should listen to him. He's a good governor.
Yes.
I think he's going to get those guys going again. And some of these other states. And look at the drain out of California, moving to Texas, moving to Arizona, moving to Nevada, Idaho. look at the drain of businesses. And Elon Musk with his, I've got these ventilators. He hasn't delivered one yet, so he's full of crap.
Yeah. So,
end of the day, look at what's left and look at what has left, and you're going to see a much different California. And I hate it because I have businesses here, and it's going to impact mine. But talking to a couple of the guys today, like I said, hey, what are you going to do? He says, you can't believe we're getting by with all of this. One of the major ad agencies that does humongous big names. I said, they're working from home. I don't need all this office space. I can cut that by half.
it'll be interesting. Okay. We got a couple minutes left, and I think it's going to be very important. You mentioned the elections. I want to end it on this because I think it's really important. I think we need to really start focusing that. Maybe we need to get some people together and really start focusing how we're going to push this, really capitalize on this election, because Trump tweeted this in all cap letters this morning. Get rid of ballot harvesting. It's rampant with fraud. The USA must have voter ID, the only way to get an honest count. We've went through it all in California. We know, especially in the LA, San Francisco area, that's how they've been able to, possibly hose us over on a lot of this stuff. I think we have this opportunity. I think we got one big ally in the President of the United States. It's time we push this, get this stuff on, start getting California back to the once golden state it was. We got about 2 minutes left.
Well, I agree with you. I've been a fan of voter ID from the time I was chairman of the Republican Party in San Bernardino County. Absolutely, hands down, have to do it. You got to have an ID to get on a plane. You got to have an ID to get into a bar for younger people. You got to all these things we need to prove. You need an ID to get a pill now at a doctor. All right. So if you're on some insurance, you absolutely positively have to do it. And I just watched a little snippet of Judge Jeannie talking about how you can fraudulently vote, and it's pretty creative, and it gets done all the time. And it's something that's not what this country is about. All right, this country is one person, one vote, and you got to get up off your butt and go vote. So go get up and go vote. All right, but having all of this other nonsense like is going on in California now, that absolutely is worthless. And they look at the stacks of ballots they're finding in these various states. Wisconsin just found I don't know how many thousand that were in tubs in a truck. Right? Yeah, I found them. The election's over. I found them. It didn't matter. It was a worthless election anyway. But the fact is that stuff happens. And the million fraud votes in California the last go-round, that has now been documented.
There you go. That music's going to come on here in about 20 seconds. Thanks for being on, Cliff. We'll do it again next week. You bet.
Talk to you. Bye-bye, all.
That's it. We'll be back tomorrow on Wicked Wednesday on that with Stephanie coming in on that. We'll have a boy. And if it's anything like today, there's no shortage of things and topics to talk about each and every day. Makes your head spin. Hopefully we'll be more optimistic. Hopefully Trump will come on tomorrow with some better news on all across the board. So till tomorrow on Wicked Wednesday when we come in with Stephanie. See ya.